the Golden Visa is basically a resident permit that it's granted for non-European investors that make an eligible investment in Portugal. Okay, this resident permit is valid for 2 years and it's successively renewable for a 2-year period. The main benefits of the Golden Visa program, and namely the Portuguese Golden Visa program, is that besides the Schengen visa-free travel, that it has one of the great advantages is that you only need to spend an average of 7 days per year in Portugal in order to keep the Golden Visa and still apply for the passport, which is very beneficial compared to other European residency programs such as the Spanish or the Greek, for example. On the other hand, it allows diverse and affordable investments, and not only that, but investments in this case, in funds that are not privately managed, completely privately managed funds. They are under the supervision of Portuguese governmental authorities. On the other hand, as you already know, the Golden Visa is also a path to Portuguese citizenship. And finally, it allows you to extend basically all of these rights, not only to the main applicant, the investor, but also to all of its family members. There were major changes to the Golden Visa program last year. So basically, just summing up, as you probably know, real estate was one of the strongest options in terms of investments for investors. You could invest in either residential properties or commercial properties, hotels, and so on. But currently, this option is no longer available. So the Portuguese government has revoked these types of investments. And so basically in 2024, we have the possibility of investing in investment funds in order to get the Golden Visa. It's a different type of investment, but it's often a much simpler and faster investment, and many times more beneficial in monetary terms compared to real estate. So in terms of eligible financial investments, the basic requirement is that the minimum that an investor must invest in Portugal is €500,000, okay, 500,000, and this must be used to purchase participation units in investment or venture capital funds. So basically, you are buying shares in a fund, either an investment fund or a venture capital fund, that cannot be a real estate fund, okay? So that is the main condition. On the other hand, this fund needs to invest at least 60% in companies based in Portugal, okay? So just summing up, not all funds that are available in the market in general are eligible for the Golden Visa, but only a short percentage of those funds that fulfill these conditions. In terms of the benefits, as I was saying, compared to real estate, it's much simpler, because the investor only needs to basically choose the fund, subscribe the shares in that fund, and then the fund manager will manage the fund, will do the investments, and will give the investors their return. So there is no actions needed for the investors, same as you would have with the real estate, with having to find a tenant for the property, or a contractor to do renovation work. So this doesn't happen with the investment funds. It's a passive investment where you basically just invest your money and trust it in a fund manager to invest that money on your behalf. Besides selecting your advisors, the first step that any investor must make is to open a bank account in Portugal. So this is mandatory according to the Golden Visa rules. For Golden Visa purposes, you need to open a bank account in Portugal. We have a partnership with a reputable bank in Portugal to ensure that this process is smooth and easy for our clients. Once the bank account is set up, it's just basically a matter of selecting your fund or your funds, submit your application, and then wait for the pre-approval of the Golden Visa, okay? Once the pre-approval is issued, you are required to come to Portugal for the first time in this process and attend an immigration appointment where basically all your biometric details such as your photograph, fingerprint, signature will be collected, after which you will receive your first resident card. Okay. The only condition for you to keep the golden visa and be able to renew it until you are able to apply for citizenship is that you spend 14 days in Portugal. Okay. So basically, each resident card will be valid for 2 years. During those 2 years, you need to have spent 14 days in Portugal, and then you need to repeat the same process. So basically, come to Portugal again to renew your resident card, receive the second resident card, spend another 14 days in Portugal, and repeat the process. Okay. After 5 years, you are able to apply for citizenship, as we will explain further ahead. Let's say that you invest in this year in 2024 and you start opening your bank account and doing all that is necessary to set up your investment. You should expect your first resident card to be issued around 2026. This, of course, is subject to changes from time to time because it depends on the delays of in the Portuguese Immigration Authority, but this is the most realistic timeline as of today. And you should expect that around 2031, 2032, you should have received your Portuguese passport. Okay. So basically, we are looking, although the Golden Visa is a 5-year investment, of course, you need to consider the delays in your citizenship application being processed. And so we are looking at around a 7 or 8 years timeline until your passport is received. In terms of citizenship, and because we know that this is a strong point for many investors seeking the Golden Visa, I wanted to dedicate just a few words on this. So basically, there are only 3 requirements for you to obtain the Portuguese passport. The first one, of course, is to hold residency for 5 years. And this doesn't need to be a specific resident permit. So the Golden Visa fulfills this requirement of residency for 5 years, even if you only have spent the minimum 14 days every 2 years in Portugal. Okay. So besides residency, you need to have approval in a Portuguese language test or have attended an eligible Portuguese language course, which is the A2 level. So basically the minimum Portuguese, and the third, the non-conviction for crimes punishable in Portugal, and that's basically it. Just a final remark on this, in terms of the 5 years, to explain you that the Portuguese Parliament has recently approved a law according to which the 5 years start counting from the date on which you submit your Golden Visa application. Okay, so basically before you had to wait 5 years after your first resident card was issued in order to be able to apply. But because of the latest delays in the immigration authority, the Portuguese Parliament has approved this change. So basically, if you invest in 2024, in 2029, you will be able to apply for citizenship. And this is a great news for investors and for our clients. You have the simulation here of a cost breakdown for one applicant, which basically totals 525,000 euros, including the €500,000 investment that you will most likely get back in the end or during the term of the funds. Then the Golden Visa fees that are fees paid to the Portuguese government, and including the legal fees for a family of 4. And then finally, citizenship, including not only legal fees, but also the fees that you pay to the government, okay? Besides this, of course, you, depending on each investor's circumstances, you may have other costs, such as the health insurance in the event that you decide to actually move permanently to Portugal, the cost of a Portuguese language course, should you wish to do one instead of just taking the test, and tax advisory in the event that you want to better understand the tax implications that this investment may have, and the payment of interests and the fund returns and how it can impact you and your cross-border tax situation.